going to get back into our story, Impossible Creatures. Our next chapter is called The Worst Question. We know in our previous chapter, we had a very sad moment where, unfortunately, Gelifin has passed away. And we're really on the brink of something big with Maul. We're kind of wondering if she could use her powers to help Gelifin in some way post-mortem, meaning after he has passed, and we'll kind of see what happens next. When I'm making a prediction about the worst question, I'm curious about what could the worst question be. We know that all questions are great, so very interested in what is happening here. Here we go. They spent the rest of the night, they meaning Maul and Christopher, on the open deck of the boat under the sky. Neither wanted to go to their bunk. Sleep did not come. Christopher had never, until then, known what it was to break your heart. Sad. He had not realized it would feel so physical, that the place in his chest where his lungs should be would feel like broken glass. It hurts to breathe. She spoke in the dark. I wish someone had told me. What do you think? She wishes that someone had told her. What? About the worst question. What question? The question, what if I had done it differently? Oh, someone's here to read with us. You want to read with us, Mill? Oh, I love to read. I'm reading, puppy. There was a silence, thank you, Millie, in the dark. She said, do you think if I'd agreed to take the potion right away, if I hadn't run away, if I'd known more? There was a silence in the dark. She said, do you think if I'd agreed to take the potion right away, if I hadn't run away, if I'd known more, I wouldn't have lost him? Oh, these are sad questions. He would have said, he should have said, don't be ridiculous. No eating books, please, girl. No eating books. Don't be silly. You're just a kid. So we both are. It wasn't your fault. It was only his, the murderer's. That is what he should have said. He knew it, even then. But he didn't. There was a metal spike in his chest where his heart should be. He heard himself say, we'll never know now, will we? And that is the worst question. The question of, what if I had done it differently? This is really connecting to regret. And we can never do anything differently when we're looking back at the past, but we can always learn from what we did, right? Right, Mindy? There was, on the outskirts of the City of Scholars, do you want to go get a toy instead of trying to eat the book? Does that look like a very delicious book? How about a frog? There was, on the outskirts of the City of Scholars, a forest. It had once been a royal cemetery. Here it was that 600 years ago, the last, no ma'am, no eating books. The last warrior queen was buried by her king. Now, with no queens or kings, it had grown wild. A forest of huge trees. Ma'am. Sorry. Laced with dragon flowers and firelocks and bushes of orchids. It was the night after Gelifin's death. Nighthand and Irian waited at the boat, talking in low voices about Cavill, about Anja. Her betrayal had left Nighthand green and sick. Keep in mind, Anja's the one that told the murderer where they were. Such a betrayal. I don't understand it, he said. He said it over and over, as if the words would become a blade and cut through to an answer. I don't understand. She gave us the boat. That was before she knew who Maul was. Maul and Christopher left, Nighthand muttering vengeance, and stepped out alone into the city on their way to the forest. Oh, are you going to go night-night? Maul had asked that only Christopher go with her. No adults, nobody who will tell us what to do. They moved to the pitch dark through the trees, guided by the torchlight. Shadows rose and fell around them in the forest, and they stumbled on branches, and creatures called in the night, but neither was afraid. They had already lost. They reached the great oak at whose foot the warrior queen's stone showed where she had been laid to rest. A scrawny Ratatoska, I have a very hard time saying that still, sat on its branches. Gallifin lay in Maul's arms for one final time. Oh, this is so sad, you guys. She held him close to her chest. Maul pointed out the spot. They took spades and crouched and dug. They dug. Spades are like small shovels, so they're digging a little grave for Gallifin so they can bury him. They dug until their arms ached and their hands were coated in soil. The bundle lay waiting. So they've wrapped Gallifin, getting ready to bury him. At last, Maul turned to lift Gallifin into his grave, but her hands were shaking. "I'll drop him," she said. "I can't do it." So Christopher bent and carried the griffin down into the earth. "Wait, don't fill it in. He needs something good to go with him." Christopher looked around, up at the towering black trees, across to the flowers. Flowers, he knew, are thrown at the feet of dancers, at those who summon beauty. He crossed to a bush of white flowers, silver in the torchlight, and tugged at them, pulling and snapping. He took her an armful. She nodded. She unwrapped the linen and laid the blooms on Gallifin's wings across his small, beautiful, unbreathing body. Oh, no. Little Sugar's fallen asleep right here during the story. That's very cute. She whispered to the griffin as she worked. Christopher could hear only snatches of words. "When Lenore died, you were the most living thing. It helped me live." And more he could not hear, and then so low it was barely a whisper. "I'll remember forever." At last she stood back. Christopher, tears on his face, filled in the earth. He had promised that first day in the lock-in to protect Gallifin. He should have talked her out of running away. He had failed utterly. A miracle had come to an end. Maul took out Gallifin's grave marker. She had chiseled it with a penknife in jerky capitals, working through the day, refusing to eat or look up or talk to Irian, who had come to coax her to drink a cup of cordial. She had hidden her face behind her hair, and her eyes had been walled by pain. Christopher stepped back. Under the great canopy of the ancient forest, Maul cleared her throat. She read aloud what she had carved on the stone. "With you, so much is lost. We won't forget." And beneath it, "Here lies Gallifin, the last and best griffin." So these are the words that she is carving on Gallifin's headstone, which are very profound and beautiful. Tears were running down her face and into her hair. Christopher moved so that their arms were touching, and she leaned into his side and sobbed like she would never stop. She wept in a way she had not wept before, for love torn away and protection failed in unbearable mistakes. At last, the two sat in the dirt together. When she could speak, Maul gave a sigh that was as ancient as the forest. She said the only thing that could, at the moment, have restored hope. "Gallifin, I'll make your death count. I swear it. Whatever it is, this thing in the maze, I will get to it." Her small, muddy fists, clenched, were white at the knuckles. "And I'll kill it." And though she was covered in earth and sweat and snot, Christopher's heart rose up and roared. His startled thought, as they turned to each other, was that she did, in that moment, look eternal. So this is a really interesting turning point in the book, my friends, because she has been fighting her destiny, and now with this great loss, she's finally walking into her destiny. And that's what some great tragedy and great loss can offer to us. It really helps us sometimes become who we really are, and that's certainly the case for Maul. Excuse me while I drink my delicious smoothie. They return to the boat. Okay, so now we have a part of the story where there's a little bit of a gap. So you guys know when there's a little bit of a gap, we're either changing settings, we're changing characters, or some time has passed. So let's read this first part and think about what does this gap show us right now. They return to the boat through lamplit streets. Okay, so they've just buried Gellifen. So I'm just kind of watching, I'm rolling this back, rolling back the movie in my mind. So they just buried Gellifen under the tree, and now they return to the boat through lamplit streets. So now I know that some time has passed and the setting has actually changed. So now I'm watching them walk through the city. It's dark. If the streets are lamplit, that means it's dark, and they're relying on the lamp in the streets to guide their way. Interesting. So the next sentence says, it was 5 a.m. So it's the time of year right now. It's summer, and I think that the sun is rising right around 5. Actually, let me check. Hey, Siri, what time did the sun rise this morning? She doesn't know where I am. I'm pretty sure, let me check this. This is important. I'm pretty sure that this morning the sun rose at 5:25. So it might be summer in the archipelago. I don't know what the seasons are. I don't know if they're the same as Earth. So it's the time of year where it's 5 a.m. and it's still dark. Just like we're in the middle of the summer right now, it's July. The sun didn't come up until 5:25. So that's an interesting detail that kind of gives some insight as to what the seasons are like in the archipelago, and it seems like they're kind of the same or similar to Earth's seasons. The sun was just beginning to rise, so that's kind of like what it would be like on a morning in July in the Midwest. He felt no surprise as Moll strode past the adults to the tiller. She pointed them toward the open water. "Pull anchor," she said. "Cast off." So she's really taking a leadership role. This is the first time that she's ordered the boat to begin sailing. It's interesting. "Moll," said Irian, "what are you doing?" "We're going to Antioch, to the islands of Centaurs, to find one who can make the potion." "What?" said Night Hand. "I'm going to remember." It's happening, you guys. "But you said..." "I know what I said. I'm not saying it anymore." Night Hand strode closer to her, his huge bulk moving fast across the deck, his shoulder knocking a lamp off the wall. It shattered. Nobody glanced at it. "What do you mean?" He made no effort to try to keep the hot hope from his voice. "I mean, I'll take the potion, and I'll remember the way into the maze. I'll go to the center, to the dark, and I'll find whatever evil creature it was that sent that man after me, and I will destroy it." "Are you sure?" She nodded, a jerk of her chin upward, and the wind lifted her hair and made it nod too. "If I don't, it won't just be Gellifen," she said. "It will be everything. I can't let any more be lost." There was the briefest silence, filled only by the noise of the sea, and then Night Hand gave a great roar. "To battle, then! To the unknown! To nobody knows what! Together!" Hi, George! And Irian pulled the map onto the deck and unrolled it, and Ratwin bent over it, and Night Hand put his hand to the glimmery blade and moved to stand beside Moll, where every inch of his blood and bone had told him he belonged. And Christopher tried to smile at her. And she smiled back. It was war, that smile. Her face, as she turned to the horizon, had the kind of look that ought to come with a warning sign. Stand clear. Danger. That's the end of the chapter. Our next chapter, my friends, is called A Piece of Complicating and Unwelcome News, which is kind of mysterious and exciting. We are probably about 2/3 of the way through the story. This top part is what we have to go. This bottom part is where we've already been. And I don't know about you, but if I were to draw a story roller coaster, yes, we've had lots of action. I feel like now we're getting we're building a lot of, oops, sorry, this is reverse. We're building a lot of suspense, and now we're finally kind of getting into like the big part of the action of the story, where Mal has accepted who she really is. She's ready to take on the creature in the maze, and now they're all together going after it. So I'm really excited to see what happens next. I'm sure you are too. Stay tuned for our next chapter. In the meantime, have a wonderful summer day and know how much I love you guys.